Immediate spoilers ahead. Come back after you've seen the movie. You've been warned. So maybe you're disappointed by Multiverse of Madness. What did you expect? The return of every Fox X-Men character? Or maybe just a cameo from every character who appeared in 2000's Marvel movies, including Mr. Ditkovich?
I have ears like a cat and eyes like a rodent.
That'd actually be sick. Maybe you expected more multiverse, or a brief stop through every known movie universe at least? Or even a crossover with the Fast franchise? Well, kind of, actually. I know. You wanted Wanda to cry and whisper, "More mutants." A twist on her making mutants disappear in House of M.
What a twist!
While the reception of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness has been generally positive, I am seeing a noticeable amount of folks online disappointed by their own expectations. I guess the extremely online side of the fandom convinced themselves they were going to see Easter Eggs the movie, Return of the Cameo. Those folks have unfortunately succumbed to what I've coined as Easter egg culture.
Now don't worry, that's just a fancy doctor word for your brain is broken.
What's that, you ask? Well, I give a 12-minute explanation of this idea in my video here. But to summarize the main idea, Marvel Studios has inadvertently taught a large swath of viewers not to engage with their movies as, some kind of art, ew, but rather viewers have learned to watch these movies as a collection of info nuggets, hinting at and marketing the next entry in the franchise. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's different. Got it? Easter egg culture. So, what kind of info nuggets led to certain fans expecting their Reddit fanfic to come true? The MCU has been setting up some pretty wild multiverse expectations lately, especially with shows like What If and Loki. But most recently, in the feature department, we got the massive multiversal payoff that was Spider-Man No Way Home. In a way, the multiverse was set up as a cameo-full series of events in Spider-Man No Way Home. So yeah, in that way, it makes sense that people expected more of that in Doctor Strange. People expected a multiverse Iron Man, a bunch of Fox X-Men, Ben Affleck as Daredevil and Batman and Morph. The works. Now, Doctor Strange was initially supposed to come out before No Way Home, and had that been the case, Multiverse of Madness maybe wouldn't have had such unhinged expectations attached to it. Would have been the first MCU feature film to give us a glimpse into multiversal possibilities. Spider-Man No Way Home coming after this movie would have further cemented it as being huge multiversal payoff. But hang on, back it up a second. Let's not forget that No Way Home is a lot more than just a Spider-Man cameo event. It's got a lot more going for it than simple multiversal payoff. It is more than info nuggets. It's a story about the MCU's Peter Parker paying the ultimate price for getting his loved ones involved in his Spider-Manning? No Way Home is the reason why he needs to live a lonely double life. Because when he doesn't, the people he loves most get hurt. He sacrificed himself and all of his relationships for the betterment of everyone because with great power comes great responsibility. All that to say, the cameos and fan service from that movie are just the icing on the cake of what is, in my opinion, a really strong Spider-Man story. It's awesome to see and gave me nostalgic warm fuzzies, but without the solid story, solid filmmaking, strong performances, a movie full of cameos is nothing more than Space Jam: A New Legacy. So is that what some folks actually wanted out of Multiverse of Madness? Did you want a pile of known IP standing around? You wanted Multiverse of Madness to be a movie packed wall-to-wall with other recognizable products and characters? Just a bunch of your Funko Pops standing there high-fiving each other and patting audience members on the back for knowing who they are? Well, luckily, that's not what we got. So we didn't get the filmmaking equivalent of a cosplay convention hall. Put all of the months of fan theory, fanfiction, 10,000 character Reddit posts to bed. Forget about it. Movies don't exist for viewers to just point at the screen and go, "Hey, I know that guy." If that's what you want, pick up a Where's Waldo book. So what did we actually get from Multiverse of Madness? We got a brand new Sam Raimi movie. That's hype as hell. Dare I say, that's groovy.
Groovy.
I'm a lifelong Raimi fan though, so I got everything I wanted out of this movie. I saw Spider-Man 2002 opening night when I was 4, I watched the whole trilogy over and over again on DVD, all of the bonus material behind the scenes. I learned about Raimi and his Evil Dead movies, which got me into horror when I was a kid. I'm a big fan of just about everything he touches. Except maybe Oz the Great and Powerful, but we all make some stinkers. Just take a look at my entire channel. It's been almost a decade since Raimi directed a feature, so him returning to the director's chair is hype enough for me. A couple years ago I made this video where I said, I hope that Multiverse of Madness ends up being a little less samey and a little more Raimi. And that's exactly what we got. More on that after these messages.
This program was brought to you by the Gregicus Cornelius Foundation and viewers like you on patreon.com/cinemacon. Thank you.
Multiverse of Madness gifted us with some of that classic Sam Raimi horror, the kinetic direction and POV framing that us Evil Dead fans love. We got corny jokes that, hey, aren't for everyone, but they work for me. The absolute over-the-top gore. Raimi really knows how to push a PG-13 rating. I nearly forgot how far you can go with PG-13, but Raimi gave us all a firm reminder. The classic goofy dissolve transitions, especially whenever someone was casting spells, which in my opinion is a great use of that effect. Hell, we even got a Deadite, kind of. It was so Raimi and felt almost unlike anything else in the MCU. It's like Kevin Feige said, hey Sam, we got this character, Scarlet Witch, and Raimi's like, witch? You said witch? Oh, I can do witch. My biggest concern going into this was that the Marvel machine would suck all of the style out of Raimi's work and flatten it into something that looks and feels like most other Marvel projects. It's really exciting to me to see Marvel very clearly let some stylistic variety shine through. We've seen some distinct style, of course, like Waititi's Thor and James Gunn's Guardians, but Multiverse of Madness felt so much further removed from anything else in the MCU. The visuals and the vibe really sold me on this movie more than anything else. Sometimes a certain energy is enough for me to enjoy a movie, and with Raimi, that energy is often more than enough. Story-wise, now, that's where I can see some valid criticism. But personally, it worked. Wanda was definitely the standout character. I really believed her villainous turn considering all the hell she's been through since she first showed up in the MCU. They did a good job in Multiverse of Madness of motivating her as someone who will go to any length to get her kids back. I bought it. The through line of Strange letting someone else hold the knife, while sure, a little bit corny, worked for me, and I bought that seeing the failure and corruption of his multiverse counterparts convinced him to change. However, this movie is basically impossible to get into for anyone who hasn't kept up with the MCU movies and TV shows. There's at least like 5 MCU movies and a whole season of TV you gotta watch to really enjoy it. At this point, that's just a feature of the MCU more so than a problem, but on the other hand, I definitely think that this cinematic universe through line is part of the reason why fans get so obsessed over cameos and Easter eggs. It's a double-edged sword because the universe helps tell this movie's story, but the universe also hurts its reception because of fans' universal expectations. That makes sense? Basically, I get the story problems, and if that's your beef with this movie, then I can respect that. I don't agree, but we're cool. On the other hand, if your issue is that this movie wasn't multiverse enough, well, do I ever have a movie recommendation for you? Seriously, go watch Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's a masterpiece. Between that, Spider-Verse, No Way Home, Rick and Morty, and of course Multiverse of Madness, it seems like we have firmly entered the era of the multiverse. That's pretty neat, huh? I'm sure this trend won't get finely packaged, repeated, and have all the fun sucked out of it by studios anytime soon. So is this what's next for the MCU? More multiverse shenanigans? I'd put my money on that. With all this talk about incursions this, Earth 868 that, I think it's safe to say that Marvel is working their way towards some kind of Secret Wars style event. Some of you outside of the sweaty comic book bubble might be wondering what that is, so I'll keep it super brief. There have been a few Secret Wars now. The first one in 1984 was basically a big superhero fighting tournament. It was the first big Marvel Comics crossover event. The Beyonder gathered every Marvel character onto Battleworld and made them fight each other. Mattel made a bunch of money selling action figures, and also issue 8 was the first appearance of Spider-Man's symbiote suit. The most recent Secret Wars centered around an incursion event. Get used to hearing that word a lot. Where a bunch of alternate Marvel universes converge into one, which was run by Dr. Doom and his legion of Alt-Thor cops. The heroes band together to stop Doom and cause a universe-wide soft reboot, as well as bring Miles Morales into the 616 universe. It was essentially Marvel's Crisis on Infinite Earths, but many, many years later. Marvel's first big company-wide soft reboot type thing. So does that mean we're heading towards a soft reboot of the MCU? I mean, it's possible. If the MCU adapts this storyline, they'll probably be merging aspects from both 1984's Secret Wars and 2015's. Personally, I want to see the evil Reed Richards storyline play out somehow before all of this Secret Wars stuff happens, where Reed becomes the Maker. Either way, this multiverse stuff is only going to get increasingly hard to follow for casual fans, which, yeah, that kinda sucks. But then again, a soft reboot might bring in a bunch of new viewers? It happens often in the comics world, but I don't think it usually brings in new readers in the long term. My biggest hope is that with all of this multiversal variety, we can get some more wildly different filmmaking styles in the MCU. Seeing all the Raimi DNA all over Multiverse of Madness makes me really excited to see other stylish directors get a chance to play around with Marvel's toys. That'd be fun. Give a director with a really unique style a huge budget and let them do their thing in the MCU. If you want to hear my thoughts on the Marvel Universe at large, you can watch this video, and this one if you want to see my WandaVision thoughts. Other than that, click on the channel, watch through some other stuff, stick around. Check out my Patreon too for exclusive CinemaCon videos.